Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this interview. I have a very wonderful guest with me today in the name of Eugene Boateng,
Yes,
an
thank you.
Afro-German filmmaker, actor, dancer, professional dancer, and also choreographer who grew up in Düsseldorf but has Ghanaian roots.
Yes.
And we are having him here because he's the main actor and co-producer of a very interesting film that has won several awards recently, and we are really, really honored to have him here in person to discuss with us not only the film but also the background and also his work as as a filmmaker, as an actor, as choreographer, also a singer because he has a wonderful trajectory. And so, welcome to the Africa Multiple Cluster of Excellence, where our
Thank you.
main objective is to reconfigure African studies. And reconfiguration always has to do with images. So, images of Africa, and how do we, walk through, and also maybe, give a counter discourse to these images of Africa in Europe, particularly, but also even to the Africans, because also like the image of Africans to Africa, it's also quite problematic. So thanks so much. And so we are going to be talking about your film,
Yes.
but also the circumstances that surround the film. And just to say that you have a double role in this film. You are the main actor and also the co-producer. How do you reconcile these roles in a film? Because both have different, considerations or different principles.
First of all, thank you. Thank you. And you mentioned a lot, so thank you for that. And to answer your question, making a film is a group project. So you don't do anything by yourself. So being an actor and a co-producer means you also have producers on the team, in the team, who are working as well, so there are times where I can focus as an actor, and there are times where I have to work as a producer, and I can switch between those roles because of the team, so it was challenging but fun as well, and I could grow out of this because I didn't really produce before. I act before, but I didn't produce, and now producing was something that I fell in love with, and I enjoyed because I got to bring so much that made the movie hopefully as authentic as possible.
Okay, I've watched the movie; it's quite relatable, and that's also going to relate to my next question. As an actor, as the main actor, and you are acting the role of Kojo, the main actor in this film, were there moments where you had to go overboard the script? Given that we're talking about a country and which certainly has so much to do with your own roots,
Yeah.
and unlike, I would say, many, Germans who are called Afro-Deutsch, you have a very clear connection, which means, as I read from your background, you were visiting Ghana almost, very frequently, because you grew up in a family with a father who was so conscious of his roots and wanted his kids to really grow up connected to the homeland. So when you were acting this role, were you in the straitjacket of the producer, or you had moments where you said, no, this is where I bring my own genius and maybe change the whole ideology or philosophy of the producing team?
The thing is, I came in as just as an actor, and because I read the script and I saw possibilities and I saw things that we had to do. This is the reason I step by step became a producer of this movie, So from the beginning, when I read the script, I called the director and told him, we have to do this in Cree. And because first it was a conversation about maybe doing it in English or something, and because they want everyone to understand and and I said no, this one needs to be authentic, so we need to do this in Cree, right? And so this is how somehow I started to bring everything I knew into this. So we changed the script into Tree, and I translated it with the help of others, and also we changed some dialogues. And while we were shooting, also because the director was so open, I had the possibility of improvising a bit, and he also always pushed me a bit to improvise and bring something to it. And so the whole process was a process of me bringing as much as I could into it, you know.
Really interesting. I recently had an interview with the Nigerian author, scriptwriter, actor also, B. Bandele, whom I guess you know, and he was in the process of translating and also adapting Wole Soyinka's Death and the King's Horseman, which was initially written in English into Yoruba. And he confessed to me that it was even more authentic in Yoruba, because when Soyinka was writing, he was basically translating Yoruba into English.
Yeah.
And that sometimes people complain that it's one of Soyinka's most difficult texts, because he was trying to translate something that was quite really quite deep in Yoruba, and he complicated it the more in English. So how was your experience having it in Twi instead of in English language? What was the experience?
It was so we had so much, like, a big discussion about the language, because the thing is, we also had someone, called Zaki. He was helping us with the whole translation. And what happened is, I read the script, the first script, I read it in German. Then they translated this script into English, and that English was a bit weird. And then they translated the weird English version into a weird Ghanaian version. But it was not just Tree, it was Fante, it was Ekriapim, it was Tree, it was different versions of Akan language in one script. So I had to, take the Ghanaian script and the English script. I had to take it all away and just take the German script, because I knew it by heart, and then take it and just translate it. And while we were translating, Zaki and me were having big discussions. No, this is the way we say it. No, we should say it this way because it means da 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 da. And you also have to translate it from, not just from a language perspective, but also from a script and film and movie perspective, So it was quite a challenge.
Thank you so much, and it's quite interesting as an answer. Yes, when you're doing a film at this juncture, where there are several debates, and especially the topical issue of immigration, when you're doing a film in that atmosphere where there are like far right debates, perspectives on the issue, where you have liberal perspective, and so, what is your liberty? In terms of an artist, are you not constrained in a way that you are maybe bent or made to be politically correct in the way you want to portray the whole issue of immigration, because you know that it's going to be subject to debate, so that maybe thematically you are more concerned than artistically. Your artistic liberty might actually be lost, or some sort of mitigated.
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I learned a lot over the last years, to be honest. And we shot the movie in 2018, and while we were shooting, we were telling a story that, for me, was a story of my father, and not only my father, but so many of my fathers and uncles and aunties and mothers, because most of them went somehow through this journey. And I wanted to tell that story. And there was a director, a writer and director, a German guy, a white guy, who came to me with this story, and I saw it and I was like, okay, all right, then it's you and me working together on this one to make it as authentic as possible, right? And then we shot the movie and did everything, post-production, da-da-da, and then 2020, Black Lives Matter happens. And everyone is scared to screen this movie because they say, it's a white director. Can we do this? No. And I'm like, ooh, no one thought about this. We were just doing the movie. And you know, the thing is, yes, I knew, okay, it's a white director and he wrote this, but it's not that he wrote it and I was, okay, let's do this. He wrote it, presented to me, and I said, okay, these are the changes we're gonna make. So that's why I became the producer and said, okay, let's change this and let's do this. Okay, we gotta do this, no, this is not how we do it, we do da. You know, so all of this happened, so we somehow came together and made a movie together. So it's not this one guy came and said, you're gonna do this. It's someone came, I came, we brought our knowledge together and created something. But we faced some challenges and some glass ceilings, and people weren't really giving us the opportunity to show the movie, which I somehow understand. I really do understand, because we've experienced a lot in, let's say, Germany. We experienced a lot of white people make movies about Africa that when you sit there, you're like, this is not how you should do this, you know? And me as an African, I feel ashamed sitting here and then going to school and people talk to me and say, I watched this movie about Africa. Are you guys like that over there? I'm like, no, you know? So that's why people are afraid and people are fed up about certain constellations and all that. I understand. But this time, I was involved and I was making sure that we tell a story that is real and that is authentic. And with tiny chances we got, we could prove that this was authentic. And when people come together on a certain, you know, and we respect each other, we find ways to create something to move on, to grow and to develop, you know?
Thank you so much for that elaborate and insightful answer. And now the title of the film, Boga, and when I was trying to research about what Boga means and then also the Ghanaian context, Ghana is always, you know, linked to some sort of movements, be it Boga, be it Ghana must go,
yeah,
be it
Ghana must go,
be it Sankofa, and Sankofa actually appears in the So why is it about? I mean, like when you as an Afro-German, you act in such a film. I mean, you actually visit Ghana, you know, out of the film, you actually just visit Ghana and then experience life, and you know, what are the reasons that spur people to leave? Because it's not only Ghana, but I wanted to narrow it down to Ghana because Ghana has a very specific image in Pan-Africanism. And I think, I don't know whether it's last year or the year before, there was the president of Ghana declared it as a year of return. And the Sankofa in your title really like captures it quite. So meanwhile, the Afro-Americans or the Afro-Europeans are returning. Now, the Africans on the continent feel the spur to leave. What is happening?
That's a good question. It's deep. Because, you know, now after a year of return, let me start this way. People in the Western world have made good marketing. The way they were selling their countries and their place is just amazing. And Africans who came to the Western world were also doing good marketing for the Western world. So that means Africans living in Africa, they were like, my brother, my cousin, my sister, my auntie, they are all living abroad. And I want to go there as well because this is like paradise. There is money. And if I get a little bit money and I come back to Africa and I change it back to African money, it multiplies, right? So everyone, or many people, a lot of people have the dream to come to the Western world to make money and come back, you know? And this is also one of the motivations I had making the movie Boga. I wanted to show a bit how it is in the Western world, because it's not like we come from Africa to the Western world and then Germany is like, woo, all right, guys, you know, we got money for you, we got work for you, we got this. No, it's not like that. You hustle. You know, I remember my father, when he came to Germany, for 10 years, he wasn't allowed to work. For 10 years, he wasn't allowed to work while our family were hoping for him to send money back home, you know? So those issues and struggles are there and people are not aware of it. So we somehow, we wish to tell the truth a bit. So people will consider or just think about it one more time before leaving or maybe staying home and build up home from scratch, you know? And then after the movie Year of Return happens, now the US is coming, UK is coming, Germany is coming, all the African diasporas are coming to Ghana, and Ghana is flourishing, you know? So it's an event to come to Ghana during the Christmas season, you know? It's an event. At the same time, what happens is there is a gap happening, you know? So when you get a lot of tourism and things are happening, all of this, the local people living there, they are somehow a bit cut off, you know? So now, how are we going to fix this gap? How are we going to create possibilities and ways that the money that is coming in, the local people living there can also benefit of it and flourish with businesses and whatsoever, you know? So I think this is now a topic, and this is now a question. What are we doing with this exchange? Can we really mingle and exchange so everyone can benefit of it? Or is it just Western people coming to Ghana and sucking, you know?
Thank you very much. Okay, then let's move, because I want to draw in now my own, experiences.
Mm-hmm.
We also have an equivalent word in Cameroon
Mm-hmm.
for those who go abroad seeking for greener pastures.
Mm-hmm.
We call them bush fallers.
Oh, wow.
Bush fallers, somebody has fallen bush.
Wow.
And the bush imagery is very, is very insightful, because it can, when you go to the bush, you can either be killed by an animal, or you kill an animal. You kill an elephant, or maybe a lion, and bring home, or tiger, and then you are. So the element of bush already brings out the risk also in it, but the opportunity, because the bush is a virgin space that can, you can unveil the unknown, and the unknown can be the best or the worst. But of course, generally, same as in Ghana, there's the yearning to live, because what is chasing is much more important than what is even inviting them Europe. The kind of economic, political situation. Yeah. But then not everyone that goes abroad is called bushfaller. Usually it is limited to a particular, kind of adventurism. I won't be ideally referred to as a bushfaller because I left the country for a particular purpose of studies. So when you are doing a film on burger, how do you make sure that that single story doesn't become the template? Because you are talking about a kind of specific experience of burgership, if I can use the word. Now, what about Ghanaian students who came, for different reasons? They also have quite different experiences, right?
Of course, yeah. I mean, you would just be called burger if you got money, right? So when you bring money back, you are a burger. If you don't bring money, you're not a burger, right? It's simple. So they scan you at the airport. When you just land and you come with your luggage, they see your clothing and everything, and then they see, are you a burger, or are you maybe just a student or whatever, So I think Boga is one movie, and we have so many stories to tell, We started with one movie, and the idea was to tell a story, something in the US, they say something like the American dream, right? And also, this is somehow also a dream, someone who starts from the bottom, rises to the top, and maybe falls down again and rises up again, So this is the story we wanted to tell. And I know that this is just one of hundreds of millions of stories, And we did this one, and there are a lot of movies coming, and we would tell other stories, and we would show different perspectives and different stories and all of this. But I think you start with one, and then you bring the second one, and then the third, and then you hopefully inspire other people to also tell stories. So we we start telling our stories, you know? So what I'm really hoping and what I really wish is to inspire people and to give people hope, and also to unleash a flame so people will believe that, yo, if he did it, I can do it. Let's tell our stories, you know? Because we shot Boga in 2018. It's 2023 now. We need more of those movies. And I don't want to be the only one doing those movies, you know? So we need a lot. We need a lot of them. So that's why I try to encourage people, whatever you do, if you're interested in filmmaking, just start, and, you know, when you make the decision, you know, things will align, and then you will get further and further and further, and then we get to see more stories and hear more stories and see more movies and all of this. So yeah, we need to keep going.
Great. Let me just the very last question for this chat. You are really, you know, the very best now as far as Afro-German, you know.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like you because I've really had to research about you, and you really, you know, like the creme de la creme, as we say in French. And how do you see the Afro-German presence, you know, in the film industry in Germany? And when you act and go to these places, are you taken to be a token? Or are you respected in your own rights, in your own value, as you know?
It's a journey. It's a journey, and I know when I am being used as a token, and I know how to not allow to be used as a token. And there is a saying, for the greater good, I walk amongst the evil. So sometimes you're like, okay, you have to make some smart decisions. Like, okay, you gotta be strategic, you know? I gotta do this, so this door will open, and then I can do this, because ultimately I wanna do this. But to get there, I need to do this and this and that, but I shouldn't do this. So if I do this, then I'll get there. And then, that was a mistake. No. Okay, it's one step back. Now I gotta, you know? So I have to be strategic about certain roles I pick and which movies I make, you know? And I believe that, you know, what we have in Germany, we have some black actors and actresses, yeah, we have them, but what we lack in is culture, you know? And I always say, I'm not only here with my color, I'm here with my culture, you know? So I represent my whole culture. And this is something that is lacking in the film industry in Germany. When you see some black African actors and actresses, they use them as a token most of the time, you know? And it's like, okay, we need a secretary and her name is Louisa. Let's make Louisa black. And then we take Louisa and make her black, you know? And I'm like, yeah, but can she be a Kriya maybe? And can she have like background, maybe a sister or a mother, and maybe they talk a little bit in their mother tongue, so you see the culture. So representation is not just the color. Representation is the story behind it, you know, so the whole culture and everything. What is it when I see those people? What is it about them? I grew up with black people. I grew up with so many black people. I just had, like, I had so many Ghanaian friends. I also had other friends, like, you know, from all over the world. But I was like surrounded by a Ghanaian community. How come I see a movie in Germany and I see a black person and he's the only black person in the whole picture? And I'm like, he must have been growing up with black parents or a black brother or a black sister or something, you know? And when you have black parents, then there is a relationship between this character and his or her parents. And this relationship, when they talk, you experience culture. you know? And this, I believe, is what we need. And this is what is for me when people talk about representation. This is what I'm looking for.
Thank you very much. We have come to the end of this chat, this interview, but we're going to tease our viewers. And in the next interview, you'll tell me more about you featuring in Beyonce's video. Thank you. Thank you very much.